Hey, greetings everyone. Glenn Kellaway from the basement. It is Friday morning as I record this and upload it. Hope everyone has a great weekend coming up. Today I am going to differentiate myself from all the other vinyl community channels. At the start of the year, I had planned to do my favorite albums that were turning 50 this year. Everybody jumped on it, man. There's a million of them. So I just felt like I'm just adding to the pile, just get lost in the shuffle. So how can I do something a little different? I thought I want to do something different and I want to get a jump on the competition. So I'm doing my top 20 albums that turn 49 years old this year. They'll be 50 in 2026. So there, take that. Now I'm ahead of you. Next year when you guys do your top 50 albums turning 50 or however many you do, I beat you to the punch. Just remember that. Okay. Now, one thing I want to mention is when I was researching all of this, there's a ton of great live albums released in 1976. So I just did this on studio albums. I might do a different one on live albums because there was a lot of really good ones. So let's get started. First of all, a band that I really just started getting into, so that's why they're number 20 on the list. I really love this album, and I'm really digging the band, but the Strawbs and No Madness. This is a really good album. These guys are a really interesting band. I'm really digging their stuff. So that makes number 20 on my list. Number 19 is my favorite guitar player in the world, but not my favorite album of his, but still, it's a Ry Cooder album, and that's good enough for me. Ry Cooder, Chicken Skin Music. I'm not going to say it's a great album, because there's certainly better Ry Cooder albums, but I should listen to it again. I hardly ever listen to this anymore, so maybe I'll have a different opinion of it, but you can't go wrong with Ry Cooder, so he's number 19. Number 18, band I really fell in love with this year, thanks to Mr. Steve Hackett. I finally got it. They're moving up on my list of favorite bands of all time. Genesis, A Trick of the Tail. Fantastic record. Love that album. Next, let's get into, so 1976, I was heavy into playing the banjo. I think I started playing it in 75. And by 76, I was just banjo brains. That was it, like just, and found a lot of great artists. And one guy, Norman Blake, the great flat-picking guitar player, put out this album, Whiskey Before Breakfast. Fantastic record on Rounder, on the Rounder label. Man, amazing. If you like acoustic music and you don't know Norman Blake, you need to. Number 0063 on Rounder, Norman Blake, Whiskey Before Breakfast. Next, another Genesis album from that year, Wind and Wuthering. I think this is the last album that Steve Hackett appeared on. Really good album. I am one of my favorite Genesis albums, actually. Next on the list is another string instrument guy, the incredible David Grisman, mandolin player extraordinaire. Went on to play a lot of jazz stuff with Stefan Grappelli, did stuff with Tony Rice and with Jerry Garcia, and just a really prominent artist. This is his album called the Rounder album, and it includes David Grisman, Vassar Clements, Tony Rice, Ricky Skaggs, Bill Keith, and more. It's kind of a superstar album, all accompanying David Grisman and his great playing. This is a Rounder release, but in Canada it's on the Stony Plain label. Great album. What have I done here? 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, number 13 on my list. Another guy who's just was so instrumental in my musical journey, John Hartford, put out this album called Mark Twain, Songs of the River. A lot of people think this is John's best album. I'm a steam-powered aerial playing guy, then Morning Bugle, and then this album. But Skipping in the Mississippi do. Long Hot Summer Nights is a song that's been covered a lot. Don't leave your records in the sun. That's good advice. The Julie Bell Swain is a classic. Excellent album from John. One of the greats that I miss dearly. Number 12. How can you not mention Hotel California? I was a big Eagles fan in the 70s, so I'm not one to slam them. I don't listen to them too much anymore, except for the Desperado album, which I absolutely love. But there's no denying this was a freaking amazing album and just a monster of a record. So that has to be on my list. Number 11, another album that I should get honorable mention that I didn't mention, which is a great album. And the only reason is because I don't seem to have it in my collection. I thought I did and I couldn't find it, is the Boston album. The debut album from Boston came out that year. Talk about a freaking monster of an album. 2112, Rush, one of my favorite Rush albums. Excellent stuff on here. Yeah, there's an overture and the whole thing's kind of a, what do you call it? Like, it's some kind of a theme. 2112, Rush, great record. Okay, well, I think I got 11 more to go. Does that make sense? Well, I'm losing it. Okay, next on the list, Zeppelin, Presence. Is it their best album? No. But has it got one of their best songs ever on it? Achilles' Last Stand? Yes. And it's still a really good album. It's Zeppelin. And I got no problem with this record whatsoever. It's number 11 on my list, I believe. Now we're down to the top 10, but let me confirm. Yes, top 10. Thanks for the little interlude there. Jackson Browne, The Pretender. I was a huge Jackson Browne fan too, and still am. And this is a pretty good album. I would rank it probably about 5th favorite of my Jackson Browne albums, which I think it might have been his 5th release. If it's not, it's his 4th. But Pretender's a great song. There's some good stuff on here. Sleep's Dark and Silent Gate is a great song. The Fuse, Bright Baby Blues. It's got a couple of filler tracks, I think, on this album, but overall, it's still pretty good. Jackson's good. Next, David Bowie, the genius of David Bowie, Station to Station. Now, I wasn't a huge Bowie fan in the 70s. I was a fan. I had a few of his albums, and one of the ones I had was this one, Station to Station. Great record. The song Station to Station, big hit with Golden Years. My TVC 15, Stay, and of course his great cover of the Nina Simone track, Wild as the Wind, is absolutely beautiful. Bowie, Station to Station, number 9. Number 8, Tom Waits, debut album, Small Change. Man, I love Tom Waits. I didn't discover Tom Waits until about 78 by the time I was really getting into him. But this is a fantastic album. If you don't like Tom Waits, you might like this album. I suggest you give it a try. His voice is more he hasn't developed that gravelly sound yet, and the songs are all excellent. I suggest you give this a try. Small Change, great record. Number 7, Warren Zevon. This is Warren's debut album. Now, I still have vivid memories of walking into Sam the Record Man in Toronto and going with my buddy Gord, and we went and looked at records, and we're just pulling stuff off, and we see the name Warren Zevon. Who's ever heard of Warren Zevon? This is his debut album. Turned it over to see what this was all about, and it was produced by Jackson Browne. So right away, Gord and I were huge Jackson Browne fans. Gotta be good. I remember Gord saying, I'll buy it. So Gord picks it up and buys it, and it's fantastic. What a freaking great album. Muhammad's Radio's on this. I'll Sleep When I'm Dead. Poor Pitiful Me, which was a great cover from Linda Ronstadt. Desperados Under the Eaves is one of his great songs. Carmelita, fantastic song, which was covered by a Canadian guy named Murray McLaughlin at one point. Frank and Jesse James, great album. Great people playing in this. Roddy Wachtel, David Lindley. Phil Everly does some harmonies on here. Who else shows up? Lindsey Buckingham plays guitar in one song. Bobby Keys is playing sax. Man, you think about that. Glenn Frey and Don Henley provide harmonies on a couple songs. Carl Wilson, for all you Beach Boys fans. Larry Graves. And Bonnie Raitt. Oh, my Lord. Amazing how many people helped this dude out, eh? Warren Zevon. What a great record. Next on the list. Six more to go, fans. Number 6 on my list. One of my heroes, Jerry Garcia, Reflections. Now, I have to admit, I didn't buy this album back in 1976, but once I caught on to it, it's got a lot of great songs on here, a lot of staples from Jerry's solo career and from the Grateful Dead. Might As Well, Mission in the Rain, They Loved Each Other, I'll Take a Melody. It Must Have Been the Roses, which the Dead did a lot. Comes a Time, again, the song the Dead did on Round Records. Jerry Garcia, Reflections, fantastic record. Jerry did some great solo stuff. Man, just loved to play music. I can't get the record in the sleeve. There we go. Down to the top 5. These are records turning 49 in 2025, in case you're just tuning in. Joni Mitchell, Hajera, my favorite Joni Mitchell album. Fantastic record. If you have a hard time with Joni's kind of soprano thing there, which a lot of people do, this album, the register comes down a little bit. The songs are really good. This is a great album. It's got Coyote on it, which everyone would be familiar with from The Last Waltz. She performed there. Song she wrote when she was on the Rolling Thunder Review tour with Dylan. But Coyote, my favorite Joni Mitchell song is on here, Amelia. Black Crow, she does that song. It's a freaking great album. Really good. Hey Jira, Joni Mitchell. Next, we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4. Top 4. Number 4, Frank Zappa's Zoot Allures. I'm telling you that the trilogy of albums from Overnight Sensation, Apostrophe, and Zoot Allures, if you're just getting into Zappa, they're the 3 that I strongly recommend because they are the most kind of rock-oriented albums and easily most accessible albums. But Zoot Allures is a great record. The torture never stops. Number 3, Rolling Stones put out a great album this year, Black and Blue. I don't think a lot of people put this on their top. Like, this is a top 5 Rolling Stones album for me. After the classic ones like Sticky Fingers, Exile, and Beggars, and Let It Bleed, this is probably my next favorite. There's some great stuff on here. The Memory Motel is fantastic, and Melody, the song they do with Billy Preston, fantastic. That's a great Stones album. I absolutely love it. Number 2, what could it be? Bob Dylan, Desire. So I was fortunate enough to see the Rolling Thunder tour in 1975. I went to 2 shows at Maple Leaf Gardens. Incredible, great memories of that. The album was just kind of being worked on and ready to be released right about the same time as the tour was going on. He did a lot of songs from this, and this is just a great album with Scarlett Rivera playing the violin through it. Hurricanes on here, Romance in Durango, the song Sarah, which is a love song to his wife who he was going through a divorce. Isis is on here, One More Cup of Coffee, Oh Sister. A lot of the songs co-written by a playwright by the name of Jacques Levy. And fantastic Dylan album. Desire, number 2. Number 1, The Genius. This is his crowning achievement. The man is an absolute genius. Stevie Wonder, Songs in the Key of Life. one of the greatest albums of all time. I mean, just fantastic. The hits on this album, Isn't She Lovely, I Wish, Sir Duke, and then all the songs like, oh man, that whole fourth side with Is It Magic, and oh man, just As, and Another Star. Love that. Joy Inside My Tear. Just a freaking brilliant, brilliant album from Stevie Wonder. Songs in the Key of Life, #1, no doubt in my mind. That's it. Songs turning 49 in 2025. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what your favorites were, because I know I left out quite a few that I'm just not into. But I might come back and do a live song of live albums. If you check the list of albums, you'll see a lot of good live ones. So anyway, everybody have a great weekend. I'm sure I'll be back. Take care.